welcome to the Apter Chat.
Bill, thanks for having me. Yeah, thanks for inviting me into the alley, and welcome to Dan's Den. And thanks for having me on board.
One day you got to come down here and sit next to me and take a look at all the memorabilia and stuff. And since you were editor of Pro Wrestling Illustrated, there's a lot of memories of my days on when I worked for PWI down here that you need to see, including, and I don't know if you can see this, the National Office Cow Championship Office Wrestling belt. It's right there.
That's it. I've heard a lot about it. I've heard
yes,
from
I know
Stu
you have.
Brandy.
And when people read my book, Is Wrestling Fixed? I didn't know it was broken. There's a chapter on Cow, but you might want to put in a challenge, because this is kind of an office here, but you'll have to get past some of my some other people waiting in line first in some other offices. You understand that, right?
Oh, absolutely. And one of the things I learned from your book is that when you go to apply your signature figure 4 leg lock,
yes,
you don't do the spinning toe hold that
absolutely
allows you to easily cradle. So it's more difficult to counter. So
oh yeah, no, I just go right into it the way Buddy Rogers used to do it.
Yeah,
Ric Flair put an actual spin on it. I don't do it that way. So wanted to talk to you about.
I've got you scouted. I've got you scouted.
You did. PWI scouting report. Here, he's got me. So wanted to talk to you about Pro Wrestling Illustrated. A lot of people at conventions say to me, I don't see the magazine. It's now a bi-monthly.
Yes.
It's still out there. I see it at Walmart. I see it at Barnes & Noble. You can still find it anywhere. How else can you get PWI, Dan?
Well, the newsstand is always available, and you can always subscribe either to the print version or the digital version. You can find out both at www.pwi-online.com. The digital version, you can download it for your laptop or your phone, and it comes out about a week and a half, 2 weeks sooner, and makes it really convenient, for the people who like to download ebooks and things like that. It's just another way to continue to kind of enjoy PWI.
Yeah, and by the way, when you say PWI-online, do not spell out dash, correct?
No, just PWI-online.com.
I've had that happen with Bill Apter. People's BILLDOTAPTER, so it does work. Anyway, Dan, one of the reasons I wanted to get you on here is, the old adage, there's nothing like a woman scorned.
I know it well. Yeah, I know that all too well.
I was in
and
Walmart.
So does my divorce attorney. She knows well too.
I was in Walmart the other day, and this was the first magazine that caught my eye. Great cover of the newest PWI, and got PWI candy because Nikki Bella is the main image on here. But this is the yearly PWI 2015. This one is the female 50. How many years has the 50 been around?
I think this is the 7th year, if memory serves.
But this time, the revolution is for real.
That's true.
Women wrestling divas, etc., right now experiencing such a hot time in the business. I mean, I love watching the girls from NXT. I love a lot of the TNA divas. Anyway, the reason you are the guy that puts this together, the PWI 50.
That's correct, yes, the female 50.
In the distaff side here. Because I remember the PWI 500, even though I never wrote it, when I went out there and I'd see wrestlers, they would accost me. Hey, I was number 439. What was Mickey Flubberhob, number 438? I'm better than they always. Did you have some of that with the PWI 500 this year?
All the time, yeah, all the time. And like you, I go out in the field a lot. I go to a lot of shows, and I'll find somebody who's at 482 is saying, hey, I beat number 368 in March. How come he's three? What's
your answer? What's your answer?
Well, how many times did you beat him? How many times did he beat you?
Check the record books. Check the record books.
You have to kind of call an audible each time.
Now these are the guys. When you get a woman angry, it's a different story. It really is. Us married guys know that. And
yes.
So and us guys, the guys dating know that too. So Nikki Bella, number 1 on here.
Yes.
I heard through the grapevine. It's been on Twitter. It's been on several news sites that number 3. Let me open the page here because I know I've got it right, but I want to show the graphic here. Number 3, Sasha Banks was quite upset that Nikki Bella is number 1. Now you're the guy who decided that Nikki is number 1. So let's go back to the beginning here. You're not sitting there with any other people like we used to do with the 500 and saying, what do you think? What do you think? Sole decision. Why? And I love Nikki too.
Yeah.
I'm not picking on this, but a lot of fans want to know why Nikki Bella.
Well, it really goes for a few things. It goes with the criteria of what we're looking for with number 1.
Which is?
Like the 500, the criteria is, it's basically your success over the previous 12 months, over the designated criteria, the grading period. And that success is in-ring success, title success, 1 loss, and basically quality of opposition. And then to a lesser degree is work rate. Work rate's always important, but it's never the deciding factor. And it was never the deciding factor in the PWI 500, as you know. You'd have guys like Hulk Hogan would be on the top, or John Cena on the top, or other guys who weren't the best technical wrestlers, but they had the best year within the given 12-month span.
I totally get that.
And what we had a year where the Divas title was prominently featured throughout the year. Nikki Bella held the title for over 300 days, almost the entire grading period from beginning to end. And she was
her sister interfered a few times there.
Once or twice. But
okay.
Ric Flair, the wrestler of the decade for the 80s, he had some interference from the Four Horsemen a few times. That doesn't diminish what he did. You don't remember those days.
Rewind. Okay, go ahead.
So, but Nikki Bella just had a terrific year. And that's not to say that anyone else didn't. But Sasha Banks in particular, fantastic wrestler, really spearheaded a lot of stuff that went on in NXT, had the great series with Bayley. But 2 things to remember. Number 1, she was the top woman in NXT, which is WWE's developmental system, which is like being varsity and junior varsity. The best player in junior varsity doesn't really have the right to say that he's better than the captain of varsity. If he was, he'd be on varsity. And that's how the world works. Wrestling's a little bit different, but that's one mentality, that this was developmental versus mainly.
A lot of people think, and I'm not endorsing this, that the Bellas are eye candy, and that's it.
Yeah, and they were. They certainly were when they started. They've improved an awful lot. And Nikki, again, when it comes to who's a better worker, Sasha wins that one. But I would say cheerleader Melissa beats both of them by a large margin. It's not just the work.
So wait a minute. So now the other issue that comes up here is number 2.
Yes.
Is Paige. So why didn't Sasha Banks make the number 2 spot at least?
The second aspect of what I was saying was, number 1, she was the best in NXT, which is the step below, the developmental. Number 2, you look at the series that she had against Bayley that everybody was raving about. First of all, it's important to remember only one of those matches took place within the grading period. The other one was outside. But she lost that match. I know it's a match of the year, but she lost, and she lost her title. Whereas Nikki Bella was still very consistent. She lost her belt right before the magazine came out, losing it to Charlotte, but she still had the longer reign on the main roster, and that's why we gave her the edge.
Yeah, and people have to remember about the that deadline that when you saw something change on TV last week, this magazine may have been done 2 months ago.
Exactly, and that's tough in the internet age. People forget about that. People will say, "Oh my gosh, Nikki Bella's number 1." If you just bought the magazine on newsstands yesterday, you say Nikki Bella's number 1. Well, she hasn't been on TV in 3 weeks.
Well, yesterday, by the way, we're taping this on the 7th of December 2015. So if you're watching this in 2017, but go ahead.
That gives context, absolutely,
really?
Yeah. So it's important to look at the grading period, and Sasha Banks is great. I'm a big fan of Sasha Banks, and I think number 3, this is her debut. This is the first time she's made the female 50, and she makes it at number 3. I mean, that's pretty impressive.
Has she? No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say with Paige, Paige never won the title during the year, but she was consistently the number one contender throughout the entire grading period for Nikki's title. She kind of went up and down, but she was always there and had that success at that level.
Number 6, Charlotte. We've heard nothing from. Well, wait. Let me go back. I understand, and you would have to confirm this, that Sasha Banks has blocked PWI from her Twitter account or something.
That's what I saw. Yeah, I'm not a big Twitter guy myself, but it was passed on to me that the day it came out, she had a little message that says, "Well, that's it," and PWI blocked. But
wow,
she's a heel. She healed on it.
Well,
whatever. It happens.
People, the wrestlers, of course, the sports entertainers. This is very serious to them, because when I used to sit and do the top 10 rankings and go into the dressing rooms and talk to the guys, this was like, how the hell could you make me number 4? I should be number 2 or number 1. Yeah.
And I never lose sight of that with the female 50 or working on the 500. I know it's important to them. And with the female 50, for the first few years, because I've been able to kind of organize the 50 since its inception, I started making graphs. And this is just kind of the way I'm, maybe based on some old PWI things that you did back in the day. But look at quality of opposition, offense, defense, title success, technical ability, things like this. And I'd grade each of the women just for my own, to clarify it myself, grade each of the women on a scale of 1 to 10 in each of those categories. And then that would really kind of steer me and say, okay, this woman had the most success, the most title success, the offense, the quality of opposition. And then it really kind of allowed me to kind of say, okay, I'm not just, pulling names out of a hat and ranking them. So I still try to do that whenever I can, and I want to make sure that I can stand behind every ranking I make.
So you don't do what we do here. We just take it and pull it out of the hat.
No. That would make, it would be a lot easier. It'd be a lot less stressful.
It definitely would. Number 6, Charlotte came in, and I talked to when I bought this when I saw fans at Walmart looking through this, and one of them bought that. So far, it's 100% sale, first day out. It's Charlotte number 6. How could that be? Now that this magazine the rankings were done about a month and a half ago, right?
Yeah, it was for the grading period that ended September 30th.
Okay, so if it was today you were doing this, would Charlotte be higher than number 6?
Yeah, she would.
Okay.
A couple spots maybe. I mean,
okay.
She'd definitely be higher, but I mean, Nikki was still there, Sasha was still there, Santana Garrett, the NWA Women's Champion, just added another title to her collection with Stardom in Japan. So I mean, not a lot of the people above her would really move down, but Charlotte would probably move up 1 or 2.
I'm amazed at the constant, excellent performance and resiliency of number 5, Gail Kim.
Yes, yeah, she's timeless. Just last night, Impact, she had a match against Tigre Uno, and it was really good to see her in there.
By the way, when people are watching this, it wouldn't have been last night. So recently, she had.
Recently.
This video, he's a print guy. So go ahead.
Yes, yeah. But she recently wrestled Tigre Uno, and she had a great match, and that's a knockout who's wrestled. The Lacey Von Erichs of the world, the Tigre Unos, the Awesome Kongs, and everyone in between. And
you know what? You mentioned that, and look, exactly as I looked at that, Awesome Kong.
Exactly. Yeah, and Gal's great. She can go with anybody.
Now, she's number 21, and yet she had a large period of inactivity, didn't she?
Exactly, and that was a tough thing this year with TNA in general. Having their entire schedule kind of scaled back and pre-taping so much. So a lot of the TNA talents kind of dropped down just because of circumstances, unless they were working a lot on the independents.
By the way, I am paying attention to you, but I'm also looking for people like... Now, number 49, a veteran, Malaya Hosaka.
Yes.
She's still around, and she's still doing really well. I was nicely surprised to see her in the top 50.
Yeah, Malaya's great. I've been a fan of Malaya for a long, long time, And it was good that she was in a few of the early female 50s when she was very active in Shimmer, and she kind of had a little bit of a lower profile, but she had a great run with the Shine Tag Team title last year, earlier this year. And, in there with people like Cherry Bomb and Kimberly, who had good rankings, and it helped her kind of take a step back into the top 50.
Now, as you know, the number one position, Nikki Bella, is very important. And like the PWI 500, number one and number 500 is the I'm number one, I'm number 500. Vanessa Craven made number 50.
Yes,
this
she
year.
did. The Mountain. Yeah, out of Toronto. She's fantastic. Just a big, powerful woman who's a veteran. She's been wrestling 7 or 8 years, if memory serves, but she had some downtime in there, and she's back and better than ever. So she's really had a fantastic year.
All right, so if Sasha Banks is watching us right now, and she's saying, "What does Dan Murphy have to say to me?" Look out into the camera.
What do I have to say to Sasha? Sasha, you had a fantastic year. Number 3 is nothing to be ashamed of. And I think that you're probably the front runner for number 1 in 2016. So just keep it going and, see how things go. You're definitely on the radar, and we've got our eye on you.
All right. Also in this issue of PWI is the Achievement 2015, where fans can vote for the year's best wrestlers and matches. One of the best issues of all time, and I used to love opening the envelopes back then when there was only snail mail. But the official fan ballot is right here, so you can participate. You can either mail it in or it's done electronically now as well, I assume.
Yes.
Yeah, that's great. All right, Dan Murphy, I'm sure there will be a lot of people here on OneWrestling.com and OneWrestlingVideo.com that are going to leave their comments that you'll be able to watch. And so on these rankings, last chance, no regrets, right?
Absolutely not. No, I really stand by it. The female 50 is an issue that's very near and dear to me. Women. In fact, you mentioned real quick, Bill, that the magazine looks great, the cover looks great.
Yeah.
We had a big debate about whether or not women should be on the cover because traditionally they don't sell as well, and it's really nice to see that we're in an era where the revolution is really happening. The fans are backing it, and we can put a Nikki Bella or Charlotte or Santana on the front cover.
Yeah, the marketing of the Divas, from the sports entertainment package to Total Divas and all the appearances they make, has made all the difference. And these girls are amazing athletes.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, they're not like, and I hate to bring this up because a lot of people say, well, then they're not as good as the girls from the past. I think for most of them, they're more athletic than the girls that were back in the days of Moolah.
Oh yeah, I would agree with that. It's a different thing. It's
no knock to Moolah. Moolah and I were very close.
Right.
Yeah.
The sport's evolved. It's changed, But the women today are fantastic athletes, and a lot of them could have held their own in back during the Moolah era and before that. I don't know how many of those other women from the Moolah era could hold their own in the Divas.
I was just gonna ask you if we did the old dream match now, the fabulous Moolah versus Paige. Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting, right?
Yeah, it would be a fun match. It would definitely be a fun match.
Whose house would that be?
Well, I'd have to say I want to know who's what territory it's in. I think that's important.
I would have put that in Jim Crockett territory.
Oh, okay.
That would have been Starrcade.
Okay, if you're putting in Jim Crockett, then maybe Paige might have a chance. You take Moolah out of McMahon's territory, and who knows what could happen. So then I'll back Paige.
That would be a hell of a match.
Absolutely.
You fans out there, if you're old school, and like me, you still follow the new school, Moolah versus Paige, what would have happened? We want to know. Right?
I like it.
All right, Dan Murphy, there at Dan's Den in upstate New York. Let's come back here to Apter's Alley. And if you wouldn't mind... Oh, hey, Dan, by the way.
Yes.
Have you finished this yet?
I have not finished. I'm about a third of the way through. I'll finish it, but within the next... I would say the next couple days, but I know that this will be up there for a long time. So soon, very soon.
So far as you're reading it, have you learned anything about the old days at PWI?
Oh yeah. In fact, the one of the early chapters talking about Stanley Weston when you
Yes.
first met Stan Weston, I didn't realize he was operating out of his home. I didn't realize that the first office was out of the house, and he had
Well,
the
actually,
other-
that was really the second office. He had an office on
Oh,
42nd Street. Yeah.
and then moved to Long Island.
Yes,
Or-
moved
or
to his home on
so,
Long Island.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was. Without him, I wouldn't be here. So
Yeah.
yeah. All right, Dan Murphy, thank you so very much. Let's
Thank
point
you, Bill.
out, as we always say, and we'll see you. You got to point your finger out here. We'll see you at the
At the
matches.